Yesterday I released a review of the DJI Action 2, and it was a pretty controversial video. Instead of comparing this to the GoPro Hero 10 or another action camera, I compared it to my iPhone 13 Pro. In this video, I want to defend my review for part of it, and then in another way I want to add more to the review. I think in some cases I made this camera seem worse than it is, and so I just kind of want to set the record straight. So first of all, why did I decide to compare this to my phone rather than another action camera? One is that I own the GoPro Hero 8. I didn't have the ability to get the 10 in time, and I also thought that everybody was going to be comparing this to the Hero 10. And so I thought, why am I going to make a video that's exactly the same as everyone else's? But probably the main reason is just because I think like 99.9% of people don't do action sports, and they have no need for a camera like this, especially if the phone in their pocket takes comparable video. And so I thought it would be much more interesting to compare it to the phone, especially because the phones are waterproof now. Now, before I started filming, I thought this camera was going to destroy my phone because everybody knows the wide angle camera on the iPhone is the worst one. So I thought it was going to be like night and day, and the action camera, which appears to have a much larger lens and sensor, would be much better than my phone, and of course that didn't happen. The footage out of the phone in almost every case looked significantly better, which was a surprise to me, and I would assume that should be a surprise to a lot of people watching the review as well. A lot of the negative comments have been saying things like, how can you compare a $500 camera to a $1,000 camera on your iPhone? And I think that's such a crazy argument. To me, that would be like reviewing a flashlight and comparing it to the flashlight that's built into your phone and finding that the flashlight on the phone is actually better, and then people complaining that I'm comparing a $100 flashlight to a $1,000 flashlight built into the phone. I'm not telling anybody, if you're looking for an action camera, that you should skip out on this product or a GoPro and buy an iPhone instead. What I'm trying to say is if you already own one of these incredible phones that has an amazing wide angle camera on it, you may not actually need one of these because you might have a superior video camera in your pocket already. Now, there were some other critical comments as well that were saying, hey, I noticed you didn't bring your iPhone into the ocean, and that's proof right there that you need an action camera. And that's half true. I definitely don't feel comfortable bringing my iPhone into salt water. It would probably survive, but over time it's definitely going to corrode out the jack on the bottom. But that being said, there are waterproof housings that you can buy for your smartphone that are far cheaper than purchasing an action camera. I actually tried to buy one of these, but being that this phone is brand new, there aren't currently any cases that are available right now. They all say that they're coming out in a month or something like that, so I wasn't able to get it in time, but I still will buy one, and I'll do some sort of update video in the next few months. Now, other people complained, rightfully so, that I didn't mention how much more convenient having a standalone action camera is, especially when you're shooting in environments where you could easily destroy a camera. Is it worth trying to bring a fragile smartphone out? I get that. I definitely should have talked about that more. I own a GoPro 8 with a headband mount, and although I have seen that you can buy headband mounts for your phone, these phones are pretty big, and even if you had the iPhone mini, I think if you attach that to your forehead, you would look far more ridiculous, and it would be much more cumbersome than if you had something like this. The fact that action cameras have a single physical button that can turn the thing on and start it recording is much more convenient than working with some smartphone that's going to shut itself down and lock itself and have to do Face ID, and all this stuff probably won't work at all if you are underwater. So there are definitely situations where using a smartphone to film would be super inconvenient, and other situations like underwater filming where you have to change settings and stuff that may not work at all. I want to touch on this magnetic mounting system again because I may have come off a little harsh in the video. At the end of the video, I mentioned that I set my camera down in the dirt and metal shavings attached to the magnets down below, and then got wedged inside these little clip mounts. And I had a really hard time getting the metal out. I've gotten almost all of it out now with a really sharp knife and water. I was like in the sink digging it all out. And so it does work well again. And I think on land, this system is perfect. I think this is super convenient. Obviously, like nothing is faster than that. I can't think of any situation using this on land that this is going to come off. So I do really like this system. except for water sports. If you guys do any sort of wakeboarding, kiteboarding, whatever, you know these hits are hard. And the way this mounting system works, if only one of these arms gets pressed in, this whole thing will come apart. And I know for a fact, if I take a really hard fall, water could hit that easily and just open it up and your camera's gone forever. Now, to fix that, all DJI has to do is add some sort of additional locking feature. Even if it was just something that you could slide with your thumb that would kind of hold these clamps in place, that would be plenty. And then again, this would be the best mounting system I've ever seen. But I'm not sure they're gonna come out with that while this product's out. Maybe they'll do that for the next iteration or whatever. And so again, if you're going to be using this in the water with a lot of high pressure water, I'm not sure this mounting system is the best. And then if you can't trust that mounting system and you have to use this underwater housing, now you have a much larger camera that's even bigger than the current GoPros. You're also losing the great audio. And of course, in my test, I don't know why, but it started leaking within just a few minutes of using it. I've looked to see, if there was like a single hair around the outside or anything. I don't see anything, so I don't think I did anything wrong. It was brand new out of the box. So that's definitely a bummer. I wish that it was a little bit more reliable, but at the same time, maybe that was a fluke and maybe that's not gonna happen for you. I'm not sure. The other thing that I hardly touched on at all is that this has the ultra wide angle 155-degree field of view mode, which shoots far wider footage than the iPhone. I shot this almost exclusively in the standard mode for the review video, and a lot of people told me how important that ultra wide angle footage is to them. And you can see even in a lot of the footage that I shot in my review, the camera is cropping out a lot of me because I have it on this little short stick. I don't have it on a long selfie stick. So having that additional field of view might be huge for you, and that's something that's going to be almost impossible to get out of an iPhone. Now, I also saw a lot of comments on my posts that were like, way to go, Lee, this camera sucks, I was excited, but now I'm not gonna buy it, thanks for telling me the truth or whatever. And I'm not sure that's what I wanted to happen either. I've watched a lot of other review videos of this camera online, and although many of them are not reviews at all, they're basically just ads with glorified footage out of the camera. I did see some legitimate reviews comparing this to the GoPro Hero 10, and in some cases, this is a superior camera to the GoPro Hero 10. And so if you're the type of person that actually needs or uses an action camera, I think this might be a really good choice, and you should definitely watch those other reviews that compare this to an action camera. So in conclusion, if I could wrap all of this up, I was expecting this to record better video footage than my phone, and it doesn't. So that was definitely a bummer. I was also a little shocked that this thing has an overheating problem, so that's a little bit of a bummer as well. And then the fact that the waterproof case wasn't so waterproof, I don't know what happened there as well. I still stand by what I said about smartphones, and the average person probably does not need one of these at all, especially if they have something in their pocket all the time that records even better footage than this. But if you need an action camera and you want something more convenient and smaller, that's a little bit more rugged, then the Action 2 could be a good decision for you. I would highly recommend checking out the other reviews that are out there that compare this to the GoPro Hero 10. And now you know my full thoughts.